Students, in this video we will develop about the global condition for the extremum. If you remember, in the previous class we have three note points. One, we have developed about the necessary condition, then sufficient condition of relative maxima or minima. But still, according to the third point, still we need a condition for global optima, because second condition ensures the about the relative maxima or minima, not the global. That means local maxima or minima. Relative means local. So still there is a need to find the condition for global optima. Fine. So this condition, now in the next video, in this video, sorry, in this video we are trying to develop that condition, and that condition basically utilizes the concept of convexity. Fine. So now, and convexity and differentiability. So let's see. So differentiable convex function, we have understood about the convex function, but what is differentiable convex function? So let f a function from S which is subset of Rn to R, a real valued function, and domain is S which is subset of Rn in Euclidean space. So let S from S to R be a differentiable function at some point x bar in S, where S is an open subset of Rn, open subset. Fine. And you know that what is open and closed, boundary is not included. So S is an open subset of Rn. Then x plus x bar belongs to S. So we have taken x bar belongs to this is fixed point. However, x is a variable point. X bar is a fixed point, x is a variable point, such that x plus x bar belongs to S. Then this condition holds. F at x plus x bar is equals to f of x bar plus x transpose gradient of f of x bar, that means first derivative, plus alpha x bar x, this is the inner product multiplied by the norm means distance from the origin, a norm of x, subjected to this condition, limit of x tending to 0, alpha x bar x, that means inner product between x bar and x is equals to 0. I think you understand. Fine. So this is the first differentiability condition. If function is first differentiable, then that will satisfy this condition. F of x plus x bar is equal to f of x bar plus x transpose gradient of x bar plus alpha x bar x, that means inner product multiplied by norm of x, where limit of x tending to 0, alpha x bar x, that means limit of this quantity is 0 when x tending to 0. But if function is twice differentiable, then condition is this: f of x bar plus x is equals to f of x bar plus x transpose x. This is inspired by the fact of Taylor's theorem. This is nothing but the expansion of Taylor's theorem in vector form. Fine. Similarly here, this is up to second order derivative, and this is the remainder term, understood? This is the remainder term basically. Similarly here, this is the remainder term. So twice differentiable function, so f of x bar plus x transpose delta f of x bar plus half x transpose del 2 f of x bar x plus beta x bar x, that means inner product. Here we are using symbol alpha, here is beta, x bar x norm of x whole square, where limit x tending to 0, beta x bar x is 0. This is the condition. Fine. So this is twice differentiable. Now note point here, delta f of x bar means del f by del x1, del f by del x2, del f by del xn at point x bar. This is basically a vector quantity. But here in the second equation you will see, here we are using delta 2 f of x, which is nothing but the Hessian matrix, del 2 f by del x1 2, del f by del x1 del x2, del 2 f by del x1 del xn. Similarly second row, del 2 f by del x2 del x1, del 2 f by del x2 2, del f2 by del x2 del x1, and similarly the nth row at point x bar. So this is first derivative, this is the second derivative. Now we have this important theorem based on this. Condition says that let f s to r be differentiable function on an open convex subset S of Rn. Then, so this is a differentiable function. So either first order derivative or second order derivative. Then f is convex if and only if this condition holds. What is this condition? F of x1 minus f of x2 is greater than equal to x1 minus x2 transpose gradient f of x2. This is valid for all x1 x2 belongs to S. Very important conclusion. If function is convex, then this condition holds. So that's why you can use this theorem as an alternate criteria to check the convexity of the function. Fine, but here important thing is that function should be a differentiable function. Now, necessary part. Let f be a convex function. So if function is convex, then obviously that will satisfy this condition. F of lambda x1 plus 1 minus lambda of x2 is less than equal to lambda f of x1 plus 1 minus lambda f of x2 for all x1 x2 belongs to S and lambda belongs to in the closed interval 0 to 1. This is equation number 1. This is by the definition of convex function. Now we will take the left hand part. So f of lambda x1 plus 1 minus lambda f of x2. Here is lambda, so we can combine these two. So we can take lambda common, x1 minus x2 plus x2. Fine. Now what is given to you? We are rewriting this part as x and this part as x bar. Fine. Now what is given to you? Given to you that function is differentiable. So since function is differentiable, so obviously you can use this concept. You can utilize this concept. If function is differentiable, then obviously at least function is first order derivable. So we are using this. Because here there is no mentioning that function is twice differentiable. Here is only mentioned that function is differentiable. So at least function is first order differentiable. So we are using this equation. So here x plus x bar. What is x? So we will use this equation. So here is this. We have assumed that this is x bar. So here the condition. So just see that f of x bar. What is your f of x bar? X bar is this, x2. So f of x2 plus, then second condition is x transpose delta f of x bar. What is x? X is this quantity. So it's transpose. That's why this transpose gradient of f of x2 plus, then alpha x bar x inner product. This is inner product between these two. So this is the inner product, alpha lambda x1 x2 x2. Fine, between these two inner product. And then third is norm of x. So norm of lambda x1 minus x2. Fine, subjected to this condition that the limit of this inner product is 0. So limit of this inner product is equal to 0. Fine. So this is equation number 2. So now here substitute using 1 and 2. So this is equal to this. So we can replace this quantity in the left hand side here. So this is the left hand side is less than equal to this quantity. Now here is f of x2. Here we have 1 minus lambda of f of x2. So this f of x2 is cancelled out with the f of x2. Here we have remaining term as minus lambda f of x2. Fine. Now divide. So here is lambda, scalar quantity. In this term, this is the lambda, scalar quantity. In this term, here is lambda f of x1 minus lambda. So you can take lambda common. So again a scalar quantity. So just divide the whole equation by lambda. So what you will get? You will get this term written here plus this inner product term multiply by this norm of x1 minus x2 is less than equal to f of x1 minus f of x2. Now taking limit lambda tending to 0. So when lambda tending to 0, this will tend to 0 because this is the condition. This is the condition. So this will tend to 0. So ultimately this term is less than equal to this term. And this is the required condition. This is the required condition. So this is proved. Now the sufficient part. So let us see this condition holds for all x1, x2 belongs to S. Now we have to show that function is convex. So suppose since x1, x2 belongs to S, Fine. So let us take their linear combination. X is lambda of x1 plus 1 minus lambda of x2, where lambda is in the closed interval 0. Now here in this equation, put x2 is equal to x, a variable quantity. So this is so. But what we have assumed, x is this quantity. So just replace this x by this. So here is this. So we have here x1 minus x. So find out the value of this term. So x1 minus x means x1 minus x. What is x? X is this quantity. Simplify this. So we get 1 minus lambda of x1 minus x2. Put it here. So we get 1 minus lambda transpose, but this is a scalar quantity. So that's why there is no need to write down transpose. This is the vector quantity. So x1 minus x2 transpose, and then gradient of f of x1. So this is third. Now again, similarly, in this equation, if you interchange x1 and x2, interchange, so what you will get here, you will get f of x2 minus f of x1 is greater than x2 minus x1 transpose gradient of f of x2, and then again put f of x1 as x. So we get this equation. Fine. So here similarly here, or you can see that in this equation just interchange x1 by x2, just interchange, so you will get this equation. Just interchange x1 by x2, so we get f of x2 minus f of x is greater than equal to x2 minus x transpose gradient of f of x. Fine, we get this equation. Now find this x2 minus x. So x2 minus x is x2 minus what is x? X is this term. So put it here. So we get minus lambda x1 minus x2. So we get minus lambda x1 minus x2 transpose gradient of f of x. This is fourth. This is fourth. Fine. So now our interest is in convexity. So now lambda multiply by 3 equation plus 1 minus lambda multiply in fourth equation. We get. So what is 3? So multiply third equation by lambda and 1 minus lambda in the fourth equation, and then add. So what we will get? We will get this, which is greater than equal to 0. Which is greater than equal to 0. After simplification, you will see that here, take lambda here, 1 minus lambda here, when you adding, so this will be cancel out. So ultimately they are greater than equal to 0. Fine. So they are greater than equal to 0 after cancellation. Simplify this calculation, we get this. So this is nothing but what is x? X is basically lambda x1 plus 1 minus lambda of x2. Just replace this value here, so we get this condition, which is nothing but the condition of convexity. So function is convex. So if your function is differentiable, then convexity implies this condition, and this condition implies that condition implies convexity. That condition implies convexity, and convexity implies this condition. Fine. Now what is the geometrical meaning of this condition? So here we have shown this geometrical meaning. So what is the meaning? This is the function. This is your f of x. F of x. Here we have 2 points x1 and x2. This is the domain S. So in this domain we have 2 points. One is say x1, another one is x2. Corresponding functional value is this p. So the coordinate of this point will be x2 and f of x2. Similarly x1. So the functional value at this point will be denoted by point q, and the ordinate will be x1 f of x1. Fine. Now if you will see this line, this straight line, this line, and this is another line. So here this line, basically this dark line is a line passes through this point P with the slope f dash x2. इस लाइन का जो स्लोप है वो फर्स्ट डेरिवेटिव x2 है और पास हो रही है पॉइंट P से. फाइन. एंड दिस लाइन इंटरसेक्ट्स दिस लाइन QB at this point N. So what will be the N? Coordinate x1, and we don't know about y, this height NB. So suppose this is denoted by y. So here is xn, x1 and y. And from this picture you will see that QB is greater than NB. QB is greater than NB. What is QB? QB is this height denoted by f of x1. What is NB? NB is this height denoted by y. So f of x1 is greater than equal to y. Now our interest is in this y. What is y? To find out this y, find out the equation of this line which passes through P having the slope f dash x2. So equation of line n dash P and n passes through this point with slope f dash x2. So this is the equation of the line. Y minus, what is the equation? You know, the equation of line is denoted by y minus y1 is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1 and x minus x1. This is the equation of the line, and this can be replaced by the derivative because this is nothing but the derivative. So this is nothing but y dash at point x2, at point x2. This is the derivative at point x2. So y minus y1 is equal to y dash at x2 x minus x1. This is the condition. This is the condition. So here is this condition. Here in place of y, basically we are taking our function. So f, you can use f. So this is the condition. Y minus f of x2 is equals to this. Fine. So this is about x2. Here we have used the equation x1. Sorry, this is x1. This is x1. This is x1. So if you, this is equation is written in terms of x1, but you can use y2 also. So then you will have x2 x minus x2. This is again the same equation which passes through y2. Here this equation passes through x1 y1. Here the equation passes through x2 y2. So this is the equation. Now n, to find out this n, just put x equal to x1 because this line intersects at this point is this point. Here is x equal to x1. So put x equal to x1 here. So here is y minus f of x2, f dash x2, x1 minus x2. So from here y will be this. So just replace this y here. So we get this condition. And this is the required condition. So this is the geometrical meaning of this. This is the geometrical meaning of this. So thus expression tells that for convex function, if you draw a tangent at any point, if you, this is the function, if you draw the tangent, then this tangent always lies below the curve. Then this tangent always lie below the curve. This is the geometrical meaning of this condition. You will see that this is below this curve. This is the geometrical meaning. Fine. Now, using this expression, we can prove some functions to be convex. For example, this simple function f of x equal to x square parabola. So if you use this condition, so what we will use? We will use this condition. Just use this condition. F of x1 minus f of x2 is greater than or equal to. So just take this quantity in the left hand side and examine the sign. If sign is greater than or equal to 0, then this condition holds. So let's see. So f of x1 minus f of x2 minus x1 minus x2 transpose f of dash x2. Here we are in single dimension, so I am not using the capital X1. We are single variable. So x1 square f of x2 square minus x1 minus x2, because this is not a vector quantity, because we are having only r. This is not rn. So say, multiply by the first derivative at x2. So 2x, so 2x2 here. Simplify this, we get this term, which is nothing but x1 minus x2, and this quantity is always greater than or equal to 0, whole square. So that's why f of x is a convex function. Fine. So this can be used as an alternate way to show that function to be convex. Fine. Now we have a second theorem. Second theorem, a simple theorem. Let S be a non-empty open convex subset of Rn, and f is from S to R be twice differentiable. Here given. In previous theorem, this is not given to you, that twice only differentiable. This is given to you. But here function is twice differentiable and domain is convex. Then f is convex function on S if the Hessian matrix is positive semi-definite. अगर फंक्शन कॉन्वेक्स है तो उसका जो हेसियन मैट्रिक्स बनेगा वो पॉजिटिव सेमी डेफिनिट होना चाहिए. इसका मतलब ये है. This is another way to check the convexity. Let's see. If function is convex on S, then we have to show that its Hessian matrix, that means del 2 f of x, is positive semi-definite for all x belongs to S. That means its Hessian matrix is, that means its quadratic form should be greater than equal to 0. Quadratic form means x transpose gradient 2 f of x del 2 f of x, x greater than equal to, this is the quadratic form. Alternately, you can rewrite this as x transpose h of x is greater than equal to 0 for all x belongs to, where h is nothing but this Hessian matrix del 2 f of x. Fine. So now first we have assumed that this is convex, so we have to show that the Hessian matrix is positive semi-definite. Now to check this, since what is given to you, S is a convex set, S is convex set, so if you are taking any point x bar belongs to S in this is basically a fixed point. Since S is open convex subset of Rn, then for any x belongs to Rn, any point, there exists some lambda greater than 0 such that this point, basically what we have taken, suppose this is your S, this is your point x bar, so you are taking another point x here, and now you are taking their linear combination. You are joining these two, so you are taking the x bar plus lambda x. So we are taking in such a way. Now here is a question, x is in the right hand side or in the left, maybe depends upon lambda or point x. This point x may be here, so then this point is lambda, because lambda is a positive value, but x may be a positive, maybe a point in the left hand side of x bar or maybe in the point in the right hand side. Fine. So this is either x bar here or x is here, but this linear combination from here to here, this always lie in S. We are taking our lambda in such a way, यानी हम अपने lambda को ऐसे लेंगे क्योंकि हमें move करना है from here to here. We will move in such a way that we will not move beyond our function, our set. This is our S. हम ज़्यादा ज़्यादा कहाँ तक जा सकते हैं, यहाँ तक जा सकते हैं, इससे ज़्यादा नहीं जाएंगे, because S is from here to here. So we will move from x bar, from this point, fixed point, in such a way, either in this direction or so that we will not move beyond our limit. This is our limit. So that's why we are having this limit as say lambda bar. That's why lambda varies from 0 to lambda bar. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा lambda तक जा सकते हैं हम, इससे ज़्यादा नहीं. Fine. So here x bar plus lambda x is the linear combination belongs to of 2 points belongs to S. Here important thing is that this is the fixed point, however x is a variable point. Fine. So now since f is convex, so satisfy that condition, satisfy this condition. So now here put x1 is equals to x bar plus lambda x and x2 is equals to x bar. So now put this value, so we get this condition. X bar is cancelled out with x bar, so we get this condition. Now since function is twice differentiable, so obviously that function will satisfy this condition. This condition will satisfy it. So just take this condition. So that's why f of x bar plus lambda x is equal to f of x bar plus lambda x bar transpose gradient of f of x bar plus 1 by 2 lambda x bar transpose this day 2 f of x bar lambda x plus beta. Beta is the inner product x bar lambda x norm of lambda x trans square. So this condition is taken from the here, which we have discussed earlier in this video. So this fine, x plus x bar. So in place of x plus x bar, we are having x bar plus lambda x, x bar plus lambda x, this. Fine. So now from equation number 1 and 2, when you put this value, so what you will get, f of x bar, f of x bar, f of x, lambda x, this condition, this condition. So this is same as it is same. So ultimately this condition is basically greater than equal to 0 because they will be cancel out. They are greater than 0. So when you take this quantity in the left hand side, so that quantity is equals to this quantity, but according to this quantity is greater than equal to 0, so this quantity is greater than equal to 0. So we have from 1 and 2 we have this condition. Now divide by lambda square. So here is the term lambda square, here is lambda square, so divide by lambda square, so we get this. Now take lambda tending to 0, so this term according to this condition, for that this should be 0, this inner product. So that's why here will be, this quantity will be 0, so only this will left. So this quantity is greater than equal to 0, but this is, because this is a scalar quantity, so just multiply by 2, so we get this quantity. And this is nothing but the quadratic form. So that's why the quadratic form is positive semi-definite, equality is there, that's why positive semi-definite, and hence we can say that the del 2 f of x is positive semi-definite on S. Fine. So this is the condition. Now the only if part. Now suppose this condition holds. Suppose that condition holds. Now we have to say that function is convex. To prove this, we will use the mean value theorem second order. Mean value theorem of second order. If you remember what is mean value theorem, so mean value theorem says that between A and B we can easily find some point C such that this condition holds. F dash C is equals to f of B minus f of A divided by B minus A. This is the mean value theorem. If your function satisfies the condition which is well defined for mean value theorem, then this condition holds. This is the mean value theorem. Fine. So here f dash C is equal to f of A minus f of B by AB. From here you can easily find out f of A, which is, so f of A is equal to f of B plus A minus B f dash C. This is first order condition, because here we have used only first derivative. If you want to find out the second order condition, then f of A is equal to f of B plus A minus B f dash C. So up to this step, this is as it is same, plus 1 by 2 A minus 2 whole square second derivative at point C, where C is the variable point in between A and B. So this is the second order condition. Now we will use this condition by replacing A by capital X1, B by X2, and C variable point is denoted by X cap. So we have this condition. This is the vector form of this. So f of x1 is equal to f of x2 plus x1 minus x2 transpose gradient. First derivative is replaced by this gradient f of x cap plus half x1 minus x2. This square quantity is divided into two parts. One is here, another one is here. Their product will give you square quantity. So x minus x2 transpose gradient of del 2 f of x cap x1 minus x2. This is third. Where what is x cap? Since x cap is a point in between A and B, so we can take the linear combination of A, B, so that we can cover up all the points in between A and B. So that's why this is the linear combination of these two, where lambda is strictly in between 0 and 1. We are not taking closed interval, because here is the open interval. So x cap is basically this. Fine. Now here Hessian matrix is already given that a positive definite according to the condition. So now since this is already given to you positive definite, so f of x1 minus f, because condition holds, this condition holds, this condition holds, this condition holds. So that's why we can say that this quantity f of x1 minus f of x2 plus x1 minus x2, this quantity is basically greater than equal to 0 according to this condition. So that's why this quantity is greater than equal to 0, this quantity, and hence this quantity is greater than equal to 0. Fine. So now we will substitute this, because Hessian matrix is already positive definite. So this quantity is positive definite, so this is why this is the quadratic form is greater than equal to 0. So now we will put this value herein. So this quantity is positive, so ultimately this quantity is positive. So this quantity f of x1 minus f of x2 minus of this quantity is greater than equal to 0, and this is the required condition. ठीक है, तो यही हमें प्रूव करना था, and we have taken few examples here. So hopefully you can see easily understood these examples yourself. So this is about the theorem. Fine. Thank you.